All right, today we are jumping into something called the Sell America trade. I know, sounds pretty dramatic, right? Well, as we're about to see, it has some seriously dramatic effects on all of our wallets.
But first, let's start with a question you've probably been asking yourself a lot lately. Why is everything just so expensive? From the gas pump to the grocery store, it feels like everything costs more.
Well, the answer isn't as simple as, supply chains. It's actually part of this massive global story about money, about power, and about something that's maybe the most important thing of all, confidence. The world's confidence in the U.S. economy. Let's get into it. So this big shift in confidence has a name that you're hearing more and more from financial analysts. They're calling it the Sell America trade. Okay, so what on earth does that actually mean? To put it really simply, it's what happens when the biggest investors around the world, we're talking the huge funds, all start selling off their American assets at the same time. You can think of it like a global vote of no confidence, where the ballots are literally dollars.
So what exactly are they selling? Well, it boils down to three really big things. First, you've got stocks, or what the pros call equities. Second, U.S. government bonds, treasuries, which for decades have been seen as just about the safest investment on the entire planet. And third, they're selling the U.S. dollar itself.
Okay, and this is what makes this whole thing so weird and kind of scary. See, normally when the stock market gets shaky, investors run for cover, and their favorite hiding spot is U.S. bonds. It's the go-to safe haven. So stocks fall, but bonds rise. But in a Sell America trade, both of them fall together. And that, right there, is a massive red flag. It means the world's safest investment suddenly doesn't feel so safe to a lot of people.
So the big question is, why now? What's going on? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was more like a chain reaction, like a series of dominoes that started to fall, one after another. And it just shook investor confidence right to its core.
And you can really see how that anxiety just built up over time. It kicked off with fears of a trade war back in April 2025. Then, just a month later, a major credit agency, Moody's, basically told the world it was getting worried about America's ability to pay its bills. But the real tipping point seems to have been early 2026, when global tensions just started getting higher and higher. Each one of these events was like another little chip out of that big wall of confidence.
And you can see the result right here, plain as day. This chart shows the U.S. dollar index, which is just a fancy way of measuring its strength against other world currencies. Just look at that drop. I mean, that's not just a line on a chart. That's a picture of money and confidence literally flowing out of the U.S.
And this is so important to get. That falling dollar, it's not just a problem for Wall Street traders. It's the very first domino in a chain reaction that is about to hit every single one of us right where it hurts the most, our wallets.
So let's connect those dots. How does a weaker dollar on the other side of the world actually make your groceries more expensive here at home?
It all starts with something called the commodity connection. Here's the deal. Most of the world's essential raw materials, we're talking oil, metals, food, they're all bought and sold in US dollars. So when the dollar gets weaker, you suddenly need more of those dollars to buy the exact same barrel of oil. The result? It's pretty simple. Prices for all of these essential things start to go up.
And check this out, for a pretty wild example of what that looks like. As investors got nervous about the dollar, they started looking for a new safe place to park their money. And where did they go? Gold, the classic safe haven asset. Its price shot up by an incredible 64% in just 1 year. Wow.
And this just creates a ripple effect that touches literally everything. All of a sudden, the energy to fuel our cars and heat our homes costs more. The metals needed to build our phones, our cars, and our buildings cost more. And like we just saw, even the things people buy just to feel safe, like gold, get way more expensive.
So now, let's bring it all the way home. How does some worried investor in Tokyo or London have anything to do with the price of milk in your fridge?
It's actually pretty straightforward when you think about it. Imagine any business, from a giant car factory to your favorite local pizza place. They all have to buy raw materials and pay for energy to run their business. So when their most basic costs go up,
Well, they don't just absorb that cost. No way. They pass it on to us, the customers, in the form of higher prices. And that is the inflation you're feeling every time you go to the checkout counter. It's the very end of that long chain reaction we've been following this whole time.
Now, it's really important to say, not everyone agrees that this is some permanent catastrophic shift.
The big debate among the experts right now is whether this is all just a short-term blip or if we're actually witnessing a real long-term turning point for the U.S. economy.
See, on the other side of this argument, you have some of the biggest names in finance, like JP Morgan and UBS. And their point is that betting against America has historically been a, quote, dangerous bet. They believe the U.S. economy is fundamentally resilient and that all this panic is just a short-term overreaction to political headlines, not a deep-seated problem.
And that, of course, leaves us with the big open question. Is this just a temporary reaction that's going to blow over, or are we standing at the beginning of a whole new economic chapter? One where the world's decades-long confidence in the U.S. is truly starting to shift. That really is the billion-dollar question that only time will be able to answer.
If we just toggle these two charts back and forth, 1, 2, 1, 2, the breaking of the line, which is underway, implies that we would sort of go down to those lows of COVID and so forth.